You're listening to the Warrior Rulebook Podcast, Episode 8, How to Silence the Monster in Your Head. So World Kindness was last week, right? Right. And who had negative thoughts concerning themselves today already? Raise your hand. Guess what? I'm raising my hand right now too. And that's the thing about negative thoughts. They never seem to really go away. So it's up to you to either ignore them or silence them completely. Now, there are times when you can think positive, and so you feel like you're on top of the world and nothing can stop you. But for me, I feel as though I always end up falling right back into my negative thoughts. And I think I know why. See, to be kind to others, you have to be kind to yourself first. Because if you're mean to yourself or you think really bad thoughts about yourself, then you end up projecting those thoughts on other people as well. So even if someone is saying something to you or they're being nice to you, you question, why are they so nice? And you start to, doubt their sincerity or their loyalty, and that's just not the case. I feel as though a lot of times our perception is really off from what people really think about us, unless they actually came out and told you that they don't like you, or they display behavior that you can kind of gauge that they don't especially care about you. So today we're going to talk about that a little bit more, and I'm going to be sharing 5 ways that you can banish those negative thoughts from your head. And also, a quick announcement, I wanted to let you know that tonight we will be going live exclusively in the Warrior Rulebook Podcast Facebook group for the first time. So if you search the Warrior Rulebook Podcast with Monique Harmon, you should be able to find it and request to join the group. And then that way you can see the exclusive live video and we can chat about this topic more tonight. And also my other episode that's going to be coming up soon about time management. So just join the group, request the group, and answer the membership questions, and I'll see you inside. You're listening to the Warrior Rulebook Podcast with me, Monique Harmon. I love helping people express themselves, protect their peace, and be confident in being them. You may also know me as Pretty Nikki, who started her online journey as a modest fashion blogger. Now I'm an entrepreneur. You'll see through my experiences and the experiences of others that change is possible, improvement is tasty, and meaningful connection is transformational. Come on, share your story with me. The stories and information presented in my podcast is not intended to take the place of medical advice from a healthcare professional. So any exercise, diet, health-related, mental health matters vary from person to person. So nothing in the podcast will be construed or used as a substitute for medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Any action taken based on the contents of this podcast or the resources is solely at your own discretion, risk, and liability. So this podcast is simply here to be encouraging, but you should definitely seek a healthcare professional for additional help. Now let's get on to the show. So I learned this term in high school in my psychology class. It's called adolescent egocentrism. And by definition, it's a term that child psychologist David Elkin used. And he describes it as a phenomenon of adolescents' inability to distinguish between their perception of what others think about them and what people actually think in reality. And I don't know if there's an adult version of this, but I can definitely say that this still persists. One of my friends had shared a video to her Instagram stories, and in the video, a girl was hanging out with her friends, and she questioned something that her friend said, and her friend said something along the lines of, oh, you're so cool because you don't care that you didn't know that. And then later she felt like, oh my God, did I say something stupid? And then she kind of walked around the rest of the day feeling stupid for what she said. And then we get to see that her friends were saying oh, she's so smart, and basically saying all these uplifting things about her, which were true. And so I've definitely experienced that for years. Sometimes that's why I'll get really quiet sometimes when I'm around my friends. In school, like when it kept happening, I started to get more quiet. And even now, sometimes I'll catch myself and I'll be like, you know what, let me just sit out on this conversation and just like listen and see like where everybody is kind of going. Because sometimes you can say something that is like completely out in left field, like during a conversation. And so I'm definitely more mindful of like what I say. But lately I could definitely say that I've been, saying a lot of things that kind of fit the conversation, and they're funny because like my friends are laughing. So that's always a good thing. So yeah, I would definitely say like just some ways to silence the monster that's in your head is to evaluate the situation for what it is. What are the facts? Focus on what are the facts. And a simple example that I was talking to another friend about this same exact situation might be like if you send a text to your friend and they haven't responded for hours. So like, what do? You go right back to your phone. And you're like, oh, was it something that I said? Or, why aren't they responding? Like, do they not care about me? So like all those negative thoughts are like attacking you. And then when you see the situation for what it is, when your friend finally gets back to you, they were like, oh, I'm so busy. They'd be like, oh, I'm so sorry. I missed your text. I thought I responded. You ever hear one of those? Or maybe they were like, oh, I was so busy today. I saw your text and I'm sorry, I'm just getting right back to you now. And then they'll answer your text message. So it's really bad to think about a situation for the worst when you don't have all the facts. Like sometimes you might just have to send another text if your friend still didn't get back to you. Or maybe just talk to them in person if, they really didn't get back to you and it's been like days or something like that, and you see them in person, be like, okay, like was something wrong? Like, did you see my text message? Sometimes phones are weird and like people may not even get a text message. So you have to check on that as well. So definitely I would say focus on the facts, number one. Number two, realize to your core that you're amazing. Okay. You may not feel amazing or be perfect or, do everything that you need to do in a given day, but you're still amazing. You still have a gift that you can share with the world. Every person on this planet has something special about them. They have a special talent. They have a special skill that they share with the world. So don't ever neglect who you are. Number three, stop comparing yourself. And as a content creator, I consume a lot of content every day. Like, I love social media, but sometimes you have to find time to just break away from it. I do know, probably about a year or two ago, I would go days without being on Instagram. And like right now, I kind of go a few days without being on Facebook or a few hours. Like now, my work actually involves social media. I try to still take breaks so I can regain myself and regain my energy, because looking at social media can be definitely an energy drainer, because like you're always seeing like your friends or people that you look up to, they're constantly posting content and it looks amazing, and you're just like, oh my gosh, how come I haven't finished this graphic yet? How come I haven't finished this blog post yet? And that has nothing to do with you. Like life gets in the way, and so you just kind of have to stop looking at what everyone else is doing. That is one of the best lessons I've learned this year, is to stop looking at what everyone else is doing and focus on what you can push out to the world. Because when you focus on what you're doing, what your purpose is, you won't feel the need to, try to do something like someone else is doing. You're doing this because you are here to serve other people. All right. Number four, consume a lot of positive messages. I'm a podcast host, so yeah, I'm going to listen to a lot of podcasts, and I definitely listen to Dean Graziosi. I listen to Marie Forleo, because they really teach you, how to focus on yourself and to focus on your happiness. And so that's why I love listening to their podcasts so much. If you are feeling inadequate in an area, listen to something that is going to help you push you further. Okay. You need to listen to something that will address whatever pain that you're feeling or whatever negativity that you're experiencing. Because when that positive message hits what you're going through, you can actually take action and solve whatever problem that you're feeling inside. If you need to get some stuff done, just go out and do it. Create a plan in small steps that you can like just ease into and have a workable process to get things done. And number 5, if the negativity is still there, just acknowledge that, you know, it's still there, and people will probably say that's probably one of the first steps, but I'm just naming these in no particular order. Don't let it consume you. It does not define you. Whatever you are feeling or whatever you are experiencing that is negative, like I said, take action to try to solve whatever you're feeling. Talk to somebody, you know, like if you think that you're saying something stupid in front of your friends or you feel inadequate, talk to them about it. You don't have to like say, oh, I felt stupid when I said that, but you could be like, oh, did this make sense when I said that? If it didn't, this is what I really meant. Like, I wanted this meaning to be clearer. So when you acknowledge that it's there, you can definitely ignore it. And like I said, find actionable steps to take in order to solve it. Thank you guys for listening to the Warrior Rulebook podcast, and stay tuned for the next episode where I have a special guest that is going to talk to us about time management. See you there. Bye. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Warrior Rulebook podcast. If you like what you heard, share it with a friend and join me over at the Warrior Rulebook Podcast Insider group on Facebook. And don't forget to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for more tips on how to be resilient in this world.